Oh, the mercy. All night Sunday, Sunday.
Talk.
This is Dan O'Donnell.
Consider me the entity within the industry without a history of spitting the epitome of stupidity.
Spitting the epitome of stupidity. It sort of sounded like Joe Biden's press conference in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania yesterday. He is getting set for a big speech about the soul of America, the future of democracy amid a plethora of threats never before seen in the history of this country. Why do you suppose Biden is making this speech in Pennsylvania? Because clearly he sees Pennsylvania as the key to retaining control of the Senate. He's got to get the guy who suffered a stroke and can barely talk across the finish line. All of this, folks, is political. And all of it is to distract from the real issue.
Hey, Mr. President, all you congressmen too, you got me frustrated, and I don't know what to do. I'm trying to make a living. I can't save a cent. It takes all of my money just to eat and pay my rent. I got the blues. Got those inflation blues. Yes, I have.
We are all singing the inflation blues, even if the media refuses to play the song, even if the media refuses to cover just how much people are hurting. Every so often, a story will get out there. Producer Dave, you sent your kids back to school today, right? Your kids started school, the new school year today. My kids start on Tuesday, and they finally went back to school shopping yesterday. We're the procrastinating family. See, we go to office supply stores, which almost always have everything you need. If you go to like an Office Depot or an Office, I'm not even sure there are still Office Maxes, Staples. Are there? I don't even know if there's a Staples store anywhere near me. The only one I ever see anymore is Office Depot. If you go to Walmart, if you go to Target, you are in a world of hurt. But if you go to an office supply store, you will find everything you want. My tip, if you learn nothing today, it is go to Office Depot. Don't go to Walmart. Don't go to Target, because those stores have been picked over. They put their back to school stuff out like the day after school ends in June. Just like Christmas stuff is going to start going up as soon as the back to school stuff is done. They just sort of, well, no, there's Halloween. Halloween will probably be up at Walmart by the end of this week. Certainly first day after Labor Day weekend. And then as soon as Halloween is over, even before Halloween is over, the Christmas stuff starts coming up. But here's back to school shopping. Back to school supplies have risen more than 40% since 2019. And at least 25% just in the past year. In fact, as the Today Show reported, things have gotten so bad that for back-to-school clothes, parents are turning to thrift stores.
Inflation will certainly test all of our family budgets once again, but some parents have found a way to pass with flying colors. To find back-to-school clothes and other essentials, they're shopping secondhand. As students return to the classroom, parents already doing the math. A recent survey finding families plan to spend about $864 on back-to-school shopping. To make it work, some are turning to the secondhand market.
I want parents to know that it is okay to thrift shop.
Anna Garcia, a mother of two in Queens, New York, began thrifting during the pandemic. She says shopping secondhand helped her stretch her family's dollars without sacrificing style.
And there's nothing wrong with going to thrift stores. When I was in college, I went to thrift stores all the time. I liked wearing the old school clothes. In high school, it was very punk rock to wear Goodwill shirts, like bowling shirts and whatnot. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not going to speak ill of anyone who goes to thrift stores, but the fact that this is now, hey, we know clothes are way too expensive. You probably need to go to a thrift store. In a Republican administration, this would be seen as the massive crisis that it is, that parents simply can't afford the necessities. Do you realize it is costing, on average, about $800 to send your kids back to school? It's a huge, huge cost incursion. And MSNBC, being MSNBC, notes that minorities are hardest hit.
As another survey by NPR, Harvard University, and the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation found that 48% of Latino households are facing serious financial problems due to price increase as a result of inflation.
Now, what's absolutely amazing about that is in that exact same segment where the MSNBC Morning Joe people, that was Mika Brzezinski right there, were talking about inflation. They had on a guest, Dr. Christina Greer. She's a politician and a relatively frequent talking head on MSNBC, to say, Dr. Greer, how big of an issue is inflation? I mean, how much are families hurting? And she said, well, you know what? Inflation is bad. But you know what's really bad? The extremist MAGA threats to democracy.
As another survey by NPR.
Whoops, wrong cut. There we go.
It's imperative that these Senate candidates and gubernatorial candidates and Joe Biden really contextualize why it is that we have to look forward. What is at stake? It's not just about inflation and economics and gas prices. It is about the soul of our democracy.
Aha! You see, inflation, all of those families struggling, minority families especially struggling to make ends meet. That's not a real big issue. That's not a real issue. The real issue is the soul of our democracy. Whether or not our democracy can withstand Donald Trump. I have never seen so much focus on a former president as there is right now. Now, we know why the media is doing it. You've heard of the Trump bump in ratings. When Donald Trump exploded onto the scene in June of 2015, he was ratings gold, to the point that then CBS President Les Moonves, now disgraced former CBS President Les Moonves, very famously said, Donald Trump may be terrible for America, but he's great for CBS. CNN built an entire business model on being the opposition to Trump. They tried to out MSNBC. There is no out MSNBCing MSNBC. If you want to go anti-Trump, Trump derangement syndrome, left-wing crazy, you are not topping Dr. Christina Greer, Morning Joe, Chris Hayes. You're just not doing it. And of course, when Trump goes away, what's going on at CNN right now? They get rid of Brian Stelter. Jim Acosta is looking over his shoulder. There are going to be big, big changes because they realize that with Trump gone, you can't base your entire coverage structure on opposition to one guy. So we know why the media is desperate to keep him in the news. But Democrats are also desperate to keep him in the news by manufacturing this idea that somehow democracy is under attack. And I want you to really think this through. Democracy is under attack when Democrats lose. This is the sort of thing tyrants say. This is the sort of thing autocrats say. Do you know the name Timothy Tebow? No, not the quarterback. Not the guy who was kneeling in the end zone and, oh my goodness, this is the worst thing ever. This guy is kneeling. Now, of course, Colin Kaepernick takes a knee a couple of years later, and oh my gosh, he's a hero. He's a social justice crusader. No, Timothy Tebow was the assistant special agent in charge of the Washington Bureau of the FBI. On Friday, he was forced to resign. Now, his lawyer is saying, no, Timothy resigned of his own accord and volition. He was frog-marched out of the building. No, the lawyer says he wasn't frog-marched out of the building at all, not at all. He left. He was talking to a couple of friends as he left the building. Now, what happens when you're fired by the FBI? Do you think they just kind of let you walk around? No, they have two agents escort you out of the building. That's exactly what happened. His excuse was, no, he was talking to a couple of longtime buddies as he walked out of the building. Okay, Tim. Why was he fired? Because of a barrage of anti-Trump social media posts that exposed extreme bias, and he just happened to be the guy who was helping run the investigation into Hunter Biden's laptop. This was going on at the same time when they were investigating, the FBI was investigating Hunter's laptop. They had the materials from the laptop that they knew to be from the laptop. At the exact same time, this anti-Trump FBI guy, who I am just going to assume was not the only anti-Trump FBI guy, was going to Facebook, and I'm willing to wager going to Twitter. We know he was going to at least one traditional news media outlet as well, and saying the Russian laptop, or rather the Hunter laptop, is an example of Russian propaganda. This is Russian disinformation. This was done in a direct attempt to suppress the story and influence an election. Folks, I can't think of a greater threat to democracy than that when you've got an entrenched bureaucratic state using its police powers to try to run a disinformation campaign within the United States to swing an election to get the sitting president out of power, a sitting president that the intelligence community had been at war with since before he was even elected, and running investigations that they knew to be false. Russia collusion, anyone? All to hinder his presidency and potentially even lead to his impeachment and removal from office. You want a threat to democracy? You want to talk about a threat to the very soul of who we are as a nation? It's that. In fact, I can't think of a greater threat or something more noxious or it was worse. Remember what I have been saying, folks. The biggest thing about 2020 wasn't Biden winning or laws not being followed or vote fraud or anything like that. The biggest thing coming out of that election was the suppression of the Hunter Biden story. It's made about 50,000 times worse that we now know that that suppression was directed by the FBI. Coming up next, we will name the unhinged liberal of the day. So stay tuned because the Dan O'Donnell Show will be back before you know it. Hey, if your business survived COVID and you've got 5 or more employees, do you know you could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of $26,000 per employee? This isn't a loan. There isn't any payback. It's a refund of your taxes. The challenge is getting it. How do you cut through all the red tape and get your business the refund it deserves? Go to getrefunds.com. Their tax attorneys are specialists, and they do all the work. There's no charge up front. They just share a percentage of the cash that they get for you. The team at getrefunds.com has already returned over $1 billion to businesses, and they can help you too. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even if you had an increase in sales, you could be eligible too. So don't miss out because this payroll tax refund is only available for a limited time. Don't miss out. Go to getrefunds.com. No risk, high reward. Getrefunds.com.
A modern-day Ben Franklin or P.T. Barnum, visionary or villain. No matter what you think of Elon Musk, you can't ignore him. Everything the richest man in the world does makes news.
He's a unique character, and he never stops working.
I'm Brian Kilmeade. Join me for Who is Elon Musk? A Fox News Radio special from Fox Nation.
Coming up Monday, it's all a part of our Labor Day programming on News Talk 1130 WISN.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. Most people know us as a trusted landscape contractor, but did you know that we've been crafting decorative concrete and masonry features for almost 30 years? All concrete is not the same. Do you know what to ask for when planning a landscape project that includes concrete? For example, there are many types of concrete mixes available, and if you don't request a premium mix, you'll likely get a bargain mix, and a driveway or patio made with a bargain mix is not a bargain at all. We use only premium concrete mixes from trusted producers, and our decorative concrete and masonry features are crafted by our own artisans, not subcontractors. There's so much to consider when preparing for your landscaping project. Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services has been serving southeastern Wisconsin since 1994. We are an established, trusted landscape contractor. Please call 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at CertaPro Painters who give you the power of pro, just like they gave me when they repainted my home's exterior. It looks like a brand new house, and I cannot recommend them highly enough for your home or business. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters, the power of pro. Schedule your free estimate now at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, pro.com.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, today, Wednesday, August 31st, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Park Lake Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. Even Cambridge has studied our technology. If you're ready to transform your love life, grab your phone. Today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that, guys. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is our most lucrative offer ever, worth over $1,200. But call today, Wednesday, and qualify totally free. 414-293-3333. That's 414-293-3333. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Park Lake Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 414-293-3333.
Identity theft shows no sign of slowing down. In fact, more than $14 billion stolen last year. That's a criminal success story and a wake-up call. It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity. LifeLock by Norton makes it easy to help protect yourself. If you become a victim, LifeLock will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save 25% on their first year of protection with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. LifeLock.com, promo code BECK.
At Waukesha State Bank, we put people first because we know people are the heart of our community. With our Payroll Complete services, we help you support the people who support your business. We go beyond handling the paychecks. We offer resources that bridge the gap between payday and everyday. From timekeeping and taxes to hiring and training, choose the local partner that invests in your employees. Explore Payroll Complete's full line of services at payrollcompletewaukesha.com. Member FDIC.
Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Conservative thought, not just talk. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, it is a Wednesday, and that means we will play America's favorite game show, Guess What's Racist? That's going to come up probably at about 10:20. Before that, it happened again. Man wanted for murder out on bail for a previous offense. There's a slight twist, but a familiar story, unfortunately, playing itself out again. Right now, though, it's time to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
All white people are racist.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is no stranger to this honor. MSNBC pundit Eddie Glaude Jr. When we last left Eddie, he was the one who was in Ukraine, right? He had dispatched himself to fight with the Ukrainians. Well, he's back in studio and he's saying inane stuff again. Like, we need to banish Trump, who is evil, from American politics. But that's not enough. We also need to banish the entire MAGA philosophy.
You know, oftentimes in American politics, we think melodramatically. And what I mean by that is we have these clear examples of good and evil. This is the evil character. If we only could banish that evil character, then we will all be good. We will be absolved of our sins. We just need to see the back of Donald Trump's head, and everything will be fine. But we know that as we slouch towards Bethlehem, that there are other folks who are complicit. And that complicity has brought us to this moment now, it seems to me.
Who are those who are complicit? Elected Republicans. People who served in the Trump administration, people who voted for Trump, people who supported Trump. In other words, to strive towards Bethlehem, so to speak. We need to banish all of them. All of you. All of us. I don't know, weird. That sounds semi-fascistic, to be perfectly frank. Eddie Glaude Jr., your unhinged liberal of the day. Folks, in order to understand modern liberalism, you need to understand this simple, fundamental truth. They really, really, really don't like you, to the point that they think you should be banished from the American political process for the sin of supporting someone that they don't approve of. I mean, think about this. Imagine if we said, Barack Obama did more to damage this country than perhaps any president shy of maybe FDR. Could you imagine what the outcry would have been if prominent Republicans in both elective office, hell, if the United States president, if Trump gets up there and says, we need to banish Barack Obama so that we can heal. He was damaging to the very soul of our democracy. My goodness, you'd be able to hear the squeals from a SpaceX satellite. But this is just routine rhetoric. We've just sort of normalized this idea that anyone who opposes Democrats, anyone who opposes the party in power, needs to be banished. My goodness, they're celebrating Mikhail Gorbachev all day yesterday for trying to move the Soviet Union away from policies like that.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
The feds push back against Trump's lawsuit. Good morning, I'm Terry Bell on News Talk 1130 WISN. The Justice Department is asking a federal judge not to grant Donald Trump's request for an independent review of documents seized in the FBI's Mar-a-Lago raid. Trump sued to block the DOJ from looking at the materials first. Senator Ron Johnson says he's being unfairly attacked for suggesting the U.S. reimagine the way it funds Social Security and Medicare.
In bringing up these numbers, in talking about the danger to our economy, you get vilified.
He addressed the American Legion convention yesterday. Summerfest will stick with its new 3-weekend format next year. It was developed last year as a COVID-19 precaution. Checking the Drake and Associates Sports Scoreboard, the Brewers and Pirates play the rubber match of their series this afternoon. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Terry Bell.
The news is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It's Dan O'Donnell for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. It's not very often in today's economy that you'll find a deal this good on such a premium brand. Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, you can have beautiful Pella windows installed in your home and pay just 2.99% financing that's locked in for 10 years. Or if you'd rather, choose free blinds or shades between the glass on lifestyle premium wood patio doors or Impervia fiberglass patio doors. You have to take advantage of deals like this one while they last, especially in today's climate. Not only are these types of offers getting harder and harder to come by with such a low interest rate locked in for 10 years, but there's just no telling how long it may be until you see an offer like this come around again. So don't miss an incredible opportunity to have beautiful Pella windows installed while paying only 2.99% interest across 10 years. Visit PellaWI.com.
When Las Vegas hosts a music festival with the hottest acts on the planet, you have to be there. Play the nationwide text-to-win iHeartRadio Music Festival Flyaway Contest now through September 9th, and you could find yourself in the middle of the action. Contest times are weekdays at 9, 1, and 5, with hourly winners getting a trip for 2 to Vegas plus $1,000 cash.
The iHeartRadio Music Festival Flyaway Contest is presented by American Companies of West Bend. Let American companies handle all aspects of your commercial building project. TeamACS.net.
Here's the Bryant Heating and Cooling forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Another day with lots of sunshine today. High near 86. Breeze out of the northwest, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear and around 60 overnight tonight. Then low 80s and sun again tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Yetka Fence.
Keeping your family, property, and pets safe and secure is a year-round job. Yetka Fence knows this. That's why they install beautiful fences all year long, including winter. Yetka Fence, protecting what you love most. YetkaFence.com.
This is Tony Drake with Drake & Associates. According to the U.S. debt clock, in the time you hear this commercial, our nation's debt will go up by $1.5 million. Our debt is over $30 trillion, and our government keeps spending. The question is, how do we pay it off? The answer? Increasing taxes. Now think about how your retirement accounts might be affected. To learn about tax reduction strategies and how to combat inflation, join us for the complimentary Smart Tax Retirement Summit on September 28th. You'll hear from renowned author Marty Ruby on his new holistic retirement for baby boomers. You'll learn the emerging risks and how to overcome them with long game thinking. Call 262-444-0040 or go to wealthwisconsin.com to register. That's 262-444-0040 or wealthwisconsin.com to register for the complimentary Smart Tax Retirement Summit.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply any level of skill or training. Insurance products are offered through a separate company. Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC.
Hey folks, Bob Tarantino from Redefined Realty. I was talking to a home seller who loved our 3.99% commission plan. They told me they ruled out a well-known 6% brokerage because they had poor negotiating skills. The long story short was the agent they interviewed dropped their 6% commission down to 5% almost immediately. Think about it. How will they negotiate for you if they can't even negotiate for themselves? Good question, isn't it? Forget the 6%ers and find a great 3.99% agent at redefinedrealty.com.
Catering to all who appreciate quality installation, a great value, and the finest windows and doors. Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Find us at lisbonstorm.com.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
Can I get a birthday shout out?
How about a cake?
Sure.
With 48 candles.
I'm not turning 48.
Oh, the cake's not for you. It's to celebrate 48 months interest-free financing on our 3 most popular Tempur-Pedic mattresses.
But the cake?
The icing on the cake is the $300 MasterCard Rewards cash card you'll also get with your Tempur-Pedic mattress.
Sounds like a reason to celebrate.
You betcha. Find a showroom near you or shop online at Hasselus.com.
Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer can give you a cash offer for your home in just 5 minutes, no matter its condition, because selling your home should not be complicated. Visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com, pick your closing date, and the rest is simple. That's MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
I'm defense attorney Tom Grieve. If you drive drunk, you will be pulled over and you will be arrested. You cannot talk your way out of a DUI, but you can keep your mouth shut for your best defense. Call my team of award-winning former state prosecutors. You are only guilty if you are convicted. GrieveLaw.com.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, beat the largest timeshare company in federal court and has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-738-9900. That's 800-738-9900.
As long as I can remember, I've had issues breathing through my nose. Since the procedure, I breathe through my nose. I sleep through the night. I don't wake up with headaches. Just get it checked out. It's 100% worth it.
The Stuff They Don't Want You to Know podcast delves into popular culture's most persistent mysteries. Now, there's something else that the guys at Stuff They Don't Want You to Know want you to know. They've got a new book coming out. Packed with illustrations, the Stuff They Don't Want You to Know book is written in the same smart, conversational style you love hearing on the podcast. Available October 11th. Pre-order now at StuffYouShouldReadBooks.com or wherever you buy your books.
From now or so, we will play Guess What's Racist. We will also get into a truly horrific case. Suspect is on the loose. He's charged in absentia with murdering his girlfriend. And he was freed on $5,000 bail when he was charged with second-degree sexual assault of a child in Milwaukee. Also, a bail fund promoted by Kamala Harris in 2020 is responsible for freeing a guy in Minneapolis now charged with, you guessed it, murder. But first, I can't let this slide. So we talked last hour about how President Biden is going to use a primetime address. This isn't just going to be a speech. I hope I made that clear enough. It's not just going to be a political rally, a speech like he did in Wilkes-Barre yesterday, which produced a number of different gaffes that we had a lot of fun making fun of last hour. This is going to be a primetime address to the nation on, quote, threats to democracy. Now, he's going to be making this speech at Independence Hall in Philadelphia. Why? To make a point about the soul of our nation, who we are, and more importantly, who's trying to rip who we are from us. Who do you think he's talking about? Al-Qaeda? Nah. Is he talking about the Chinese? The Russians? AKA his son Hunter's business partners? No. He's talking about Republicans, specifically those who support Donald Trump, the ultra MAGA. In 20 years, we went from the greatest threat to America being Al-Qaeda to ultra MAGA. This is who the Democratic Party is. The networks are almost certainly going to give him prime time space to make what's essentially a political argument. Vote for us, ignore inflation, ignore rising crime rates, ignore the fact that in Democrat cities, crime is out of control, ignore the fact that my own vice president was promoting a bail fund that freed a murderer. Just ignore all that, ignore all of our failures, and focus on how terrible our political opponents are. Isn't that, at its essence, what President Biden's speech is going to be? The networks are going to cover this like an address to the nation after, say, a major terror attack or a significant event, a hurricane or something. We just marked, 17 years since Hurricane Katrina? Do you realize, is it today or tomorrow, Dave? It's 25 years since Princess Diana died. I can still remember. That's one of those things, and I was 15, 16 years old, and I was at my friend's house. We were in his basement just kind of hanging out with a couple of buddies. And it was real late at night, and the news reports started coming on that there had been an accident involving Princess Diana in Paris, and that she had been rushed to the hospital, and the situation was looking very, very grave. And I believe we stayed up and were watching TV when the first reports started coming in that Princess Di had died 25 years ago today. It's hard to believe. But instead of focusing on a significant issue or an actual national crisis, the news networks are going to be giving President Biden free rein to attack his political enemies in a key swing state. It's not lost on me that he's going to Philadelphia right after he was in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, to do the exact same thing, essentially do a campaign speech. This further illustrates that the news networks are they have abandoned any pretense of not even being objective reporter. I can even deal with them with their horrible bias. This is now open advocacy. This is now just allowing. Would they ever, if Donald Trump tomorrow said he's going to give a primetime address to give his side of the story on the FBI raid, do you think anyone would cover it? As newsworthy as that would be, of course they wouldn't cover it. Would they break in to news coverage? Would they break into regular programming, even though it's summer when it's typically a graveyard for network news programming? We had the story earlier this week that NBC might even be ditching the 9 o'clock hour of programming because ratings are down so much. They'd never do that, but they're doing it for Biden. Toward that end, I have never seen open advocacy in the pages of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, and this is saying something, quite like this story from Corinne Hess. Wisconsin Republican governor candidate Tim Michels uses his personal foundation to fund anti-gay and anti-abortion groups. Do you know what those groups are? Churches! Wisconsin's Republican candidate for governor Tim Michels and his wife donated $250,000 to anti-LGBTQ and anti-abortion groups, representing about 15% of his total donations in 2020. Now, they go on to say, abortion is a critical issue in the upcoming elections, and campaign spokesperson Anna Kelly is defending this, and Evers is on the attack. You don't learn until about 7 to 8, even more than that, maybe 10 paragraphs in the second segment, what these anti-abortion and anti-LGBTQ XYZ groups really are. The Michaels Foundation gave $175,000 in 2020 to Wisconsin Right to Life and Pro-Life Wisconsin Education Task Force and Avail NYC, a New York City crisis pregnancy center. Then, of course, Hess goes into Pro-Life Wisconsin's agenda calls for completely outlawing abortion and would ban most common forms of contraception and birth control and prohibit in vitro fertilization. That goes beyond the 1849 abortion. This sounds like it was written by the Tony Evers campaign, and I'm willing to wager in large measure it was. This was a story this is opposition research. This is literal opposition research. Do you think Corinne Hess is digging in? Who do you think it is more likely was digging into Tim Michaels and his wife's political donations and charitable donations? Do you think it was the Evers campaign or the Democratic Party or an opposition research firm? Or do you think it was Corinne Hess? Who do you think? Just who do you think? So what Corinne Hess is doing is providing the air of legitimacy to what's essentially opposition research, to what is opposition research. There is zero chance she on her own just looked into this, because this is classic opposition research. Then we go a little bit farther down. After we say, in the Marquette University Law School poll, 28% of Republicans and 62% of independents opposed the recent Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Overall, 60% of poll respondents opposed the decision. You see how out of touch Tim Michaels is. And sure enough, we then get a quote from Democratic Party spokeswoman Hannah Menshoff. Tim Michaels will stop at nothing to push his radical agenda in order to limit the rights of LGBTQ Wisconsinites and those seeking an abortion. If elected, Tim Michaels will implement radical policies that are out of touch with the majority of Wisconsinites. Isn't that the entire point of this story? In other words, the statement that just came from the Democrat Party is on the front page of jsonline.com right now. It is nothing more than a Democrat talking point. But we scroll down a little bit further, and we see what anti-LGBT organizations are these? The Michaels Foundation donated $10,000 to Christ Fellowship in Miami, according to 990 reports. The church gained notoriety in 2015 when one of its most famous parishioners, Senator Marco Rubio, announced his bid for the presidency, and the megachurch's leaders' anti-trans and anti-gay comments were discovered. I should point out that not only is Corinne Hess an absolute Democratic Party hack, she needs better editing skills. The sentence actually reads, Rubio announced his bid for presidency, and the megachurch's leaders, with no apostrophe, signaling a possessive anti-trans and anti-gay comments were discovered. So in the span of about 4 words, 2 typos. Normally I'm not that catty, but this article is just that hackish. The Christ Fellowship's pastor, Omar Girtili, in June called arguments for exception to abortions in case of rape or incest deceptive reasoning. The couple also donated $50,000 to Spring Creek Church in Pewaukee and $5,000 to Elmbrook Church in Brookfield. Spring Creek Church's Pastor Chip Bernhard has suggested that people who have an abortion need forgiveness, and allowing transgender children to use the bathroom of their choice is awful. By the way, they do not even get into why Elmbrook Church is bad. At least not that I can see. All right. Ready for this? From 1999 to 2019. Well, Tim Michels was a trustee on the Family Foundation board. The board, or the foundation, also gave a handful of anti-abortion and Christian organizations. $69,000 to the Faith Lutheran Church and School of Fond du Lac. A church and school is an anti-abortion organization. $20,000 to the Milwaukee Veritas Society. $12,650 to the New Beginnings Pregnancy Center in Fond du Lac. $4,000 to the Pro-Life Wisconsin Education Task Force. This is absolutely amazing. And oh, by the way, in March, the Michels family donated $15 million to establish the Michels Rare Cancers Research Laboratories at the Medical College of Wisconsin Cancer Center. Seems like that, written another way, would be the headline. Michels donated $15 million to cure cancer. Nope, not the headline. He donated to, I would love if someone would reach out to Corinne Hess, because she just throws it out there that $5,000 to Elmbrook Church in Brookfield is a bad thing. And Elmbrook Church is an anti-gay, anti-LGBTQ organization, but never provides the reasoning why. Was there a survey? Was there a pastor who said something? Was it the biblical teachings about homosexuality and the like? What? I honestly, and folks, you are going to see a whole lot of hackish press releases masquerading as news stories in this newspaper. I don't think I have ever seen one this ridiculous. Now, I wonder how much it's going to backfire on Democrats in much the same way. Remember the attacks in 2019 on Brian Hagedorn. Oh, my goodness. Did you know he's an extremist, religious fanatic? I'm taking a wild guess that this is going to be a one-day story, because even Democrats realize how attacking religion and attacking churches only serves to galvanize people who do consider themselves church-going religious people, or even spiritual people, or even people who realize just how unfair and ridiculous this attack really is. Coming up in just a second, we are going to play Guess What's Racist, America's favorite game show, but we need your help. That's right. We need you to be a contestant, and we are taking caller number 25. We'll take caller number 25 at 414-799-1130 or 1-800-838-9476.
Classical conservatism.
Contemporary style.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hey, Dan here. If your business has 5 or more employees and it managed to survive COVID-19, you could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on this. How do you cut through the red tape and get your business the refund money? Go to getrefunds.com. Their tax attorneys are specialists in this little-known payroll tax refund program, and it is a refund of your taxes. It's not a loan. There's no payback or anything like that. The attorneys at getrefunds.com do all the work. There's no charge up front. They simply share a percentage of the cash that they get for you. And the team at getrefunds.com has already returned over $1 billion to businesses. They can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com and click on Qualify Me, answer a couple questions, and you're on your way. Don't miss out. Go to getrefunds.com. No risk, high reward. GetRefunds.com. Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at Sinus and Snoring MD. Allergy season is here. Or is it a sinus infection? Not sure? The experts at Sinus and Snoring MD can help determine what's going on. Visit sinusandsnoringmd.com.
The next time you're due for service, visit richlands.com to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 conveniently located facilities.
All AAA approved and all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to serve you.
Richlands.
The global economic group headed by China and Russia, called BRICS, is dedicated to challenging the dollar. This means the dollar will be further damaged, and along with it, the purchasing power of Americans. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I want to remind you that you can still secure your hard-earned savings from world events. How? By diversifying your 401k or IRA out of paper assets and into physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To claim your free info kit on gold IRAs, simply text the word SECURE to 989898. It's critical you get this information before the dollar is further eroded and you lose even more of your hard-earned monies. So text SECURE to the number 989898. That's SECURE to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation or purchase required. Take action today.
Old National Wealth Management is asking investors to get old. But first, people have questions.
Now, if I get old, will someone explain how bond prices and yields go in opposite directions?
Yes, your own wealth advisor's there to make everything clear.
No matter how many times I ask?
Absolutely.
Because I kind of ask a lot. I ask about 401ks, too.
We love questions.
Okay, put me in the old machine. I'm ready.
Introducing Old National Bank, where business relationships and results matter. Old National Bank. Get old. Member FDIC.
Here's why. Money. Warshevsky.
The next generation is here. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
And how perfect is this bumper music? It is entitled I Wanna Get Better by the great Bleachers, one of the members of Fun's side project, which I actually think is, Bleacher is a better band than Fun. This is a great, great song. It's called I Want to Get Better. And right now, we are helping you, ladies and gentlemen, get better by recognizing America's systemic racism and how you, listening to me right now, watching me on our stream, how you personally have helped build, laying brick by brick, the foundations of racism in America. It is time to play our favorite new game show.
Guess What's Racist?
That's right. We help identify racism in America, which, don't you know, is now everywhere, by playing a game show to help you identify it. Today's contestant comes to us from Waukesha. Rebecca, welcome to Guess What's Racist.
Thank you so much for having me on, Dan. I'm excited to figure out who's being racist.
I'll say you are. It sounds like you're running down to like you just won the Showcase Showdown on Price is Right. I love this. I love the enthusiasm.
I did.
So I take it you know how to play Guess What's Racist.
I mean, I have a little experience in it. Yes.
You have.
Yes,
Oh boy.
We'll see.
You have experience in racism. This is good. This is good because the reality is, Rebecca, everyone does. And so does everything, and that's the point. I am going to give Rebecca a list of 3 things. They're going to be related in some way. They're going to be random things. It's not going to be like, guess what's racist? The KKK, the Nazis, or Donald Trump, right? It's going to be something random. And Rebecca, you're going to have to tell me which one of those things is suddenly horribly racist. Every single story, every single thing is from within the last couple of days. It is amazing how the media has made a cottage industry of declaring random things totally racist. Are you ready to play?
Ready.
Folks at home, are you ready to play? I know you are. Rebecca, guess what's racist? A hoedown, a hootenanny, or a hoodang?
I'm going to say a hoedown.
You are correct. Interestingly enough, I just learned what a hoodang was this morning while trying to find a third synonym for hoedown. The actress Sydney Sweeney, who stars in the hit HBO show Euphoria, has faced significant backlash regarding her family wearing MAGA hats at a hoedown surprise party for her mom's 60th birthday. People on the internet claim to see guests at the party wearing Blue Lives Matter shirts and red MAGA hats, both of which are associated with far-right politics. This is from Time Magazine, picking up on the controversy. Do you know what the hats actually said? Make 60 great again. because the mom was turning 60 years old. Now, Sweeney responded to the controversy, saying she found it hilarious and it was just an innocent celebration for my mom's milestone 60th birthday has turned into an absurd political statement, which was not the intention. Please stop making assumptions. That only made things worse, as internet trolls and members of the media alike, but I repeat myself, tried digging into Sweeney's past to find more evidence that her family is secretly racist right-wing Republicans. That's right, an actress whose family might vote Republican is facing a very public reckoning over it, to the point where stories are written about her in Newsweek, Time, it's covered on television, all because they threw a hoedown birthday party for her mom. Folks, if I may, just the serious point here is that if you are not in total lockstep with the dominant party, you are considered an enemy of the state. Horribly racist. All right. Very good, Rebecca. You're 1 for 1. Guess what's racist? Owning a knife, owning a gun, or owning a tank?
You said the last one was a tank?
Owning a tank, yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to say a gun.
That is correct. The University of Wisconsin-Madison is promoting a new study entitled Historical Prevalence of Slavery Predicts Contemporary American Gun Ownership. It contends that in counties in America where black people were enslaved in 1860, gun ownership is higher today. In fact, the authors of the study say, gun ownership is correlated to the number of slaves formerly in each county. To support this more slaves means more guns theory, the authors construct a historical narrative that whites feared newly freed slaves, bought guns for self-defense, and then this fear trickled down to 2022, 160 years later. But as the Federalist points out, interestingly enough, just last month, National Public Radio ran a story on the fastest growing group of gun owners. Do you know who they are, Rebecca? I'll give you a bonus points if you do.
White Americans.
No, I'm sorry. Black Americans are the fastest growing group of gun owners. So you're telling me that black gun owners are racist because they want to own guns because they have a tendency to far more likely be the victims of crimes and live in high crime areas. But no, it's actually because they're racist and they've got these fears of runaway slaves rising up against them embedded in their brains. It is completely nonsensical. All right, you are doing very, very well, Rebecca. You're 1 for 2. We're gonna do a brief. She's 2 for 2. Oh, that was a bonus question. You're right. She is 2 for 2. You're doing great. We're going to have to shorten the game just a little bit here. We're going to go for 3 for 3. We're going to go for a perfect game, a threefer. Guess what's racist? Ron White, Jeff Dunham, or Larry the Cable Guy?
Oh gosh, this is really hard. I'm going to say Ron White because his last name is White.
I love your logic, but unfortunately, it is not correct. Jeff Dunham is racist, according to the Anti-Racism Committee for the City of St. Catharines in Canada. In related news, there is an anti-racism committee for the City of St. Catharines in Canada. It considered a proposal recently to ask the Meridian Center to cancel an upcoming comedy show from Jeff Dunham. Councilors supported a motion that asks city staff to create guiding principles for future performances at all city facilities with input from equity-seeking groups and/or advisory committees after rejecting a unanimous infamous effort to cancel the Jeff Dunham show. Why? Dunham is, of course, best known for ventriloquism and gained global popularity in the 2000s, but has faced criticism in the past for portraying characters that rely on racial stereotypes. Some of the characters on his current tour include a dead terrorist named Ahmed and a totally legal jalapeno on a stick named Jose. The St. Catherine's Anti-Racism Committee raised concerns about Dunham's use of racial stereotypes, saying his act harms marginalized communities and could make people think racism, misogyny, and homophobia are acceptable. That story from the CBC. Yes, he was at the State Fair. And I'm actually kind of surprised that Mandela Barnes wasn't out there picketing, trying to get that concert canceled. All right, you went 2 for 3, Rebecca. An excellent job on Guess What's Racist. Unfortunately, we have no prize for you except the knowledge that you are 2/3 of the way there on the path to enlightenment, understanding your role in building the foundations of America's systemic white supremacy. Thank you so much for playing. Do appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, I am Dan O'Donnell. Coming up next, we have got a serious story, very serious story about, yet again, criminal free on bail committing murder. You have been listening to Guess What's Racist? Dan O'Donnell here for my great friends at Mander Collision and Glass, which I've been recommending most highly for years because of their expertise, their professionalism, and above all, their customer service, which really sets them apart from pretty much every other body shop. But don't just take my word for it. Sarah says Mander was thorough, friendly, knowledgeable, and quick. Although you never want to have to use an auto body repair shop, I would absolutely recommend Mander. And whether it's body work, windshield repair, or car detailing, you'll get the same service Sarah got, guaranteed. You see, Mander is locally and family owned, so you're a person to them, not a number like you are to a national chain. And Mander now has 4 locations to serve you in Brookfield, Waukesha, Cedarburg, and Heartland. Start your repair today by visiting mandercollision.com and see why Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Do you know the seasons of Wisconsin? There's false fall, followed by second summer, and then actual fall. So it begins with false fall. That's when you think autumn has arrived, but then second summer swoops by for 1 week. And then, finally, actual fall settles in. The way to get through these shenanigans for Mother Nature is to be prepared with Austin Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Eric Smith here, lifelong Boy Scout, true believer in preparation. To be ready for that first cold morning, the one where your bare feet hit the floor and you're reminded, yup, actual fall? Have Team Austin prep your furnace with our ostentatious tune-up. It's a pampering 67-step process performed by my persnickety furnace gurus. These whip-smart professionals make sure you're all set for fall and that beast waiting nearby, Wisconsin winter. To set up your appointment, reach out to Austin Plumbing, Heating, and Air online at teamaustin.com.
The Difference, a new and informative podcast series presented by Annex Wealth Management. Conversation and informed opinion with WISN's Dan O'Donnell and Dave Spano of Annex Wealth Management. The Difference, available on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you find your favorite podcast.
Need to get roofing or siding work done this year and don't know where to start? Hi, Colleen here with Tri-County Contracting. From the estimate process to finding the best products, it can feel like a burden. We know your time is precious and we don't want to waste it. So no drawn-out, high-pressure sales sit-downs at the kitchen table. You decide how the estimate process looks. It's your house and you're in charge. If you have lots of questions, we'll gladly spend time explaining everything for your exterior project. From install questions to warranties, we love to talk about roofing, siding, and windows. We also know how hard you work for your money, and we don't want to waste that either. We won't offer you bottom-of-the-barrel products that won't last. Only the best roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting for your home. As a local, family-owned and operated small business, we are committed to giving a fair, honest price. For worry-free roofing, siding, and windows, go to TriCountyContractingWI.com or call 262-679-6100. Financing options available.
Hey, you've heard me talk about the fact that with interest rates going up now and likely a lot more in the future, Goldman Sachs even predicts 11 in 2 years, it will impact buyers' ability to buy a home. If you're thinking about selling your home, maybe you need to sell it now before more buyers get priced out of the market. Now more than ever, you need an experienced real estate agent that can bring you a smart strategy to generate multiple offers from the right buyers to net you the most money. I'm talking about Justin Hoffman of RE/MAX Realty Pros. Now, Justin spends thousands of dollars every month to attract thousands of buyers, which helps sell a home on average every 28 hours for up to $25,000 over the asking price. Make the smart move. Get the options to put the most money in your pocket. You can give Justin a call right now at 414-604-1454. Or just Google Team Hoffman and check out over 500 five-star reviews.
Democrat politicians are great at character assassination, but they're awful at governing and telling the truth. Mandela Barnes can't be honest with you because he supports all the policies causing inflation, record gas prices, rising crime, and a flood of illegal immigrants and deadly drugs. Voting for Mandela Barnes would be like hiring an arsonist to put out a fire. Please don't. I'm Ron Johnson, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ron Johnson for Senate, Inc.
Drive safely, Wisconsin. Highway workers are out on the road. They do it to better serve you. And just like you, they want to get home safely at the end of a hard day's work. When driving, all of us have a chance to set the right example. Be patient. Put down the phone. Never text and drive. Slow down and move over if possible to give workers a little extra room. Work zone safety. It's everyone's responsibility.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin DOT.
Hey, Arvid, why is Nicole sitting here in a trance?
She's in a state of tranquility, Ben. It happens when you melt into the fluffy, overstuffed cushions on the new Cloud9 sofa at Penny Mustard.
Really? I don't believe it. Let me see for myself.
Told ya. De-stress on the new Cloud9 sofa, starting at just $60 a month with only 1 penny down and no interest till September of 2026. Through September 11th at Penny Mustard Furnishings.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
When you breathe well, you live better. Find out more at AdventKnows.com.
Classical conservatism. Contemporary style. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
The Minnesota Bail Fund, the Minneapolis Freedom Fund, it was titled, formed amid the George Floyd riots of 2020, backed by Vice President Kamala Harris, has sprung a convicted criminal who allegedly killed his nemesis over a beef the two had. She tweeted in June of 2020, if you're able to, chip in now to the Minnesota Freedom Fund to help post bail for those protesting on the ground in Minnesota. She tweeted out, one of the people bailed out by that fund, Sean Michael Tillman, who's from St. Paul, was out for 3 weeks before he allegedly murdered an old nemesis with whom he had beef. Tillman, who was bailed out on April 29th in connection to an indecent exposure case, allegedly fired 6 bullets into his victim at a light rail stop in St. Paul on May 20th, killing him. Way to go, Dems. There is another story of a criminal out on bail allegedly killing. He is still on the loose. His name is Ernest Blackney, and he is charged in absentia with shooting his estranged girlfriend to death and then starting a fire at her home to try to cover up the crime. He was out on $5,000 bail in a prior case in which he was charged with sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. Way back in 2009, Blackney was charged and pleaded guilty to possession with intent to distribute cocaine. He was sentenced to 2 years probation. He managed to stay out of trouble until last October, when he faced the charge of sexual assault of a child who is allegedly a 13-year-old girl. Now, that's a Class C felony, punishable by 40 years in prison. Bond was set at $5,000. It was set by Milwaukee County Judge David Borowski. Now, if that name sounds familiar, he is a great friend of the show, and he is a conservative judge. Bail, however, in this case, strikes me as very low. This case is still pending. And in fact, on August 15th, Blackney pleaded guilty. He posted bail 2 days later, November 2nd, 2021. Bail is set at $5,000. He posts 2 days later, and he shows up to all his court hearings and appearances and all of this. Pleads guilty on August 15th. He is scheduled to be sentenced on October 20th. 10 days after his guilty plea, August 25th, 6 days ago, he allegedly killed Nakia T. Rogers, 36 years old, allegedly shooting her the morning of August 25th, hours after she told a friend she planned to leave Blackney and move her things out of his house. Blackney then allegedly set fire to the home in an effort to cover up the crime. Investigators responding to the fire at about 4 a.m. found the body with bullet wounds in it, as well as a can of gasoline as they put out the fire. According to the criminal complaint, Blackney then went to a friend's house. At 4:30 a.m., a friend of the girlfriend received a message from Rogers' phone which said, "You should have left her alone." Later receiving another message saying Rogers was dead. When the friend asked if he was talking to Blackney, he received a message that said yes. Another friend of Blackney's told police at 5:30 a.m. Blackney showed up at his house soaking wet from a rainstorm with a gun in his hand, eventually telling the friend he shot Rogers and that he was sorry and he did it because she was moving out. He also admitted to burning his house down. Blackney stayed with the friend until 12:30 p.m. Sometime after that, he stole a truck from a worker at a construction site. Before driving away, Blackney forced the worker into a trailer at gunpoint and locked him inside. Now, I guess the question would be not whether bail was set too low, but upon conviction, should Blackney have been remanded to custody? That, I think, is a good, because the bail restrictions stayed in place. Could Blackney, knowing full well that he was about to go to prison, finally want to settle the score with the girlfriend who said he was, quote, crazy? Those details, by the way, from the criminal complaint, courtesy of reporting by jsonline.com. Occasionally, they do still do news and not just put out Democrat talking points like Corinne Hess did. Borowski most likely should have revoked bail. Upon conviction of such a serious crime, immediately send him into jail. That was a mistake. Far broader issue, though, is the idea that even though in this case, I'm not necessarily sure that, I think $10,000 bail would probably have sufficed. But when even a very strong, tough-on-crime judge like David Borowski, who obviously is not able to speak about this case because it's still before him, it's a sentencing hearing scheduled for October 20th, when even he is essentially setting lower bails than should be set, we've got a real problem here. And sadly, Ernest Blackney is just part and parcel of a criminal justice system that has grown ever more brazen and bold in the crimes it's committed. Do you realize that we've got a guy who's running for re-election as governor, who actually campaigned in 2018 on releasing 50% of the prison population? He claimed that, 75 to 80% of people in prison are being prosecuted for drug crimes. No, we actually debunked that here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. 70% of the prison population was in for violent crimes. 11% have a drug offense as their most serious crime. According to our friends at the McIver Institute, during Evers' term, the prison population has plummeted to its lowest point since the 1990s. It's currently 15% lower than it was December 2018, the month before Evers took office. Evers also increased the number of early release prisoners by 16%. We've got an attorney general who believes in the idea of, oh, yes, bail is just too high. Oh, my goodness, bail is at a crisis point. Let's go to George in Muskego. You're on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
So, Dan, I agree that crime is out of control, especially violent crime.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't imagine how many people get arrested every day, even just in the county of Milwaukee. So how would you handle it if someone comes into your court and is charged with, let's just say, domestic abuse? Where would you go with your bail? And are you willing to have the legislature of the state of Wisconsin put massive amounts of money into more jails?
Yes.
And you are. How much do you think would be enough to do that?
Oh, boy, a specific dollar figure? See, I know, George, you're trying to do a gotcha question, and unfortunately, you're not doing it especially well, because you're allowing me to get out the talking point that, yes, the legislature should the city of Milwaukee should first completely defund the Office of Violence Prevention, which has obviously not prevented any violence, immediately put hundreds of millions of dollars into law enforcement, into jail construction, into jail staff, into the prison system. Because what we've learned over about 30 to 40 years, and we have actual data to prove this, is that when you send people to prison for a long time, when you actually crack down on criminality, crime goes down. And in fact, we've got a great test case, George, in New York City. New York City did the exact same thing that Milwaukee is doing now, that the state of Wisconsin under Evers' leadership is doing now, and it was lenient on criminals. What happened was Rudy Giuliani got elected in the late 1980s, early 1990s, and immediately instituted what became known as the broken windows policing philosophy, which immediately increased...
You're not answering my question, really.
No, I am, George. You got to hold on. If you're going to ask a question, you got to wait for the answer. Hold on one sec, okay?
Please.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Facts are, taking away your effort to do whatever. So in the 1990s, New York went from a crime-riddled nightmare hellscape into the tourist capital of the world, or at least the United States, that it once was. Times Square was a safe place to be. At the same time, George, at the national level, they were seeing how much success New York had, and people had gotten fed up because in cities like Milwaukee, New York, Chicago, everywhere was the same story. So we actually got tough on crime and passed a national crime bill that was written by, do you remember who, George? What senator actually authored the crime bill?
You know what I would like to ask? Why hasn't the Wisconsin legislature then promoted the idea of spending
the answer was actually Joe Biden, George. So Joe Biden authors this legislation that cracks down on crime. Do you know the president who signed it?
Wait a minute. We're talking about the state of Wisconsin, not federal.
No. The answer is not the state of Wisconsin. The answer is President Bill Clinton. We're building towards this, George. We're building. Just like I want to build more prisons. We are building it. So what happened was, from the 1990s to about 2015, crime decreased dramatically, proving that greater investment in prisons, in law enforcement, in actually enforcing the law does work. A specific dollar amount is pretty tough to say. No, hold on a sec, George. Hold on a sec. Being very rude here. I know you want to get whatever point you're going to try to make. So when it comes to a specific dollar amount, right, that is going to be determined by whatever we deem necessary. I would at least a couple of $100 million at the very
that
least.
Doesn't get you
at
much
the very least. All right. So
I mean, a school costs probably $50 million. But hey, look, I'm with
costs
you,
$50
Dan.
million. Okay.
You think I'm against you, but I'm just curious why the legislature has not promoted the idea of building more prisons.
What, are you kidding me? Because it's
I'm not
been
kidding.
shut down by Governor Evers.
I haven't heard Michaels. I haven't heard Clayfish say we need more prisons. Not one time. I heard
Are you being serious right now?
I'm being very serious.
You're saying that Michaels and Clayfish have not called for more law enforcement or prisons. I'll tell you what, George, we're going to have to pick this up later because the constraints of time are such that we've got to step aside for a break. Not exactly sure the point you were driving at, but all right. Dan O'Donnell here for the Fairways of Woodside, a fun, relaxing place to play golf and one of the absolute best courses you'll find anywhere. I love it because far from the stuffy, uptight atmosphere you'll find at other courses, the Fairways puts the emphasis on fun, enjoyment of the game with friends. So come out and escape for a round on their beautiful, perfectly manicured course. Book your tee time today at fairwaysofwoodside.com, and I'll see you on the fairways. Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at CertaPro Painters who give you the power of pro, just like they gave me when they repainted my home's exterior. It looks like a brand new house, and I cannot recommend them highly enough for your home or business. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters, the power of pro. Schedule your free estimate now at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, pro.com.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, today, Wednesday, August 31st, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Park Lake Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. Even Cambridge has studied our technology. If you're ready to transform your love life, grab your phone. Today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that, guys. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is our most lucrative offer ever, worth over $1,200. But call today, Wednesday, and qualify totally free. 414-293-3333. That's 414-293-3333. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Park Lake Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 414-293-3333.
Welcome to This Week with Annex Wealth Management. Dan O'Donnell here alongside the president and CEO of Annex, Dave Spano. And this week, markets are reacting to Fed Chairman Jerome Powell's comments at Jackson Hole, Wyoming last week, Dave.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, it was kind of a hawkish speech, if you will, last week, and that certainly caused the markets to roil and head south, frankly. And what that's really about is that they're going to raise interest rates until they believe that they have inflation under control, and that is a heavy lift, no doubt, Dan.
Yeah, this seems to me to be further evidence that the American economy is going to be sputtering, at least for the foreseeable future, as the Fed is going to have to continue to raise rates to deal with rampant inflation.
Yeah, that's right. And if that is true and there is a more muted returns coming out of people's portfolios, it's certainly important to know how your assets are allocated. Are you in the right sectors? Are you in sectors that will do well in this type of environment with higher inflation and more muted returns? And of course, what are you paying for that advice? And a lot of times, Dan, we have folks come in and we look at their portfolios and they really don't know what they're paying or how they're asset allocated. And that's why you go through that process. And of course, you pair that with a financial plan to say, how am I going to get through this foreseeable future, as you said, for the next 1, 2, 3 years? Is your financial plan on track? All of this stuff comes together from a fee-only fiduciary wealth management firm.
And that is Annex Wealth Management. You can get your free portfolio review. It's known as a free wealth metric, and the only place you can get it is at annexwealth.com. AnixWellth.com. Make sure you stop by. For Dave Spano, the president and CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
And now a small business setback. Set to smooth jazz.
It's late. You're driving in the rain with only one thing on your mind. The deer about to total your HVAC van. But with Progressive's 30-plus customizable coverage options, you're covered. The rest is just saxophone.
When running your small business gets rough, Progressive Commercial is there to smooth it out. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Twinkly sound.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/trial. That's ZipRecruiter.com/trial.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Now, back to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Caller before the break tried to suggest that no Republicans have suggested building more prisons. Story from 2017. Robin Voss, Wisconsin probably needs a new prison. How about this? The second Michaels campaign Back the Blueprint, in which he calls for the expansion of, yes, the Green Bay prison, replacing the aging Green Bay prison with a larger, modern facility. In fact, both Clayfish and Michaels talked at length about the need for more prison space. This is sort of the fundamental problem I have with the American left, is that they just, whether it's through ignorance, willful ignorance, or just dishonesty, they will just say things in the course of argument that are just flat out complete fabrications. And in an effort to make the point, because typically the liberal point, and especially on crime, is never well argued, never well reasoned. They almost have to, well, Republicans want to do all this stuff, but they don't support spending money on prisons. Yes, the one thing Republicans have notoriously not wanted to spend money on is law enforcement and prisons. Dan O'Donnell Show, back tomorrow. Talk to you then.